So today I'm going to show you one of my favourite recipes for winter, and that is the slow cooker chicken soup using a whole chicken. So the great thing about this is it's not only super easy to make, but you can also make a really beautiful bone broth with the leftover chicken afterwards. Let me show you how we're going to do it. So the prep work for this is really simple. It's just a matter of you quickly and roughly chopping all your veggies. If you're making this regularly, you might like to pre-chop some veggies and keep them in the freezer so that you can just quickly pop them in the slow cooker whenever you decide to make this meal. This is a really great recipe for anyone who's wanting to improve their digestion or gut health, but it's particularly good for mums with bubs in that first year or so after pregnancy when there's extra physical demands on the body and we need to replenish our stores after pregnancy. I love this soup because by cooking the whole chicken, we're not only getting the nutrients from the actual chicken and veggies, but the bones and the cartilage also supply a big dose of minerals and collagen that's easily and quickly absorbed by your body. So these beautiful minerals like magnesium, calcium, and iron, they're all great to help combat fatigue, support healthy brain function, relax the nervous system, and support our gut and immune system. So all the things that we need as mums. So this is just a bit of bone broth powder. I always use bone broth powder in place of stock because it gives that nice flavor, but the additional nutrients as well. So add the chicken on top of all the veggies and then just pour enough filtered water so that it's almost covering the chicken, but it doesn't need to be completely submerged. And then I'm going to add a few whole stems of kale. We're going to remove these after the soup has finished cooking, but it just means we get those beautiful nutrients leaching into the broth as well. Okay, I'm going to leave that on low for about 8 hours. All right, so when your soup is nice and cooked, the chicken is cooked, you can see all of the veggies are nice and soft. We're just going to remove the kale and any herbs. I've got a bunch of parsley in there, so I'll just remove that first. And then we're going to take the whole chicken out so that we can remove the chicken meat from it and add it back into the soup. So you can see it is very soft. It does sort of break apart quite a bit. And then it's really just as simple as using a fork to shred the chicken as much as you like to put back into the soup. You could also set a little bit aside for wraps or salads during the week if you wanted to as well, because there's quite a lot of chicken left. And then because we're making this into a chicken noodle soup, I'm just going to add some rice noodles straight into the pot. These only take 2 minutes to actually cook, so you do this right at the end and then serve it immediately. This is great for little toddlers or maybe if you've got a picky eater, because if you just stick some noodles in the broth, you know that they're getting plenty of nutrients from the actual broth. So then when it's time to make the broth, it's as simple as chucking in some veggies. You don't even really need to cut them. We're going to put the rest of the chicken in there, so all those cartilage pieces, the bones, even that little bit of chicken meat left over. Pop it all in with some filtered water, a little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic, and we'll leave it overnight. As simple as that. So after about 12 to 14 hours, it's time to strain the broth. So you just want to put a nice big bowl. I just do it in my sink so I don't make a mess. A nice big bowl with a strainer on top, and then we're just going to pour it straight in. Don't forget to put the bowl underneath the strainer. I have done that before. So after you've strained it, just have a look at the broth. There is sometimes a few little pieces in there, so if you want to strain it again through a thinner sieve just to get rid of that, then you can. I'm just going to leave it, that's fine. And then pour it into a glass container or a glass jar, or you can put it into an ice cube tray. Just make sure if you're going to freeze it that you leave a little bit of a gap at the top for the expansion. Whenever I make this, we'll usually have it for dinner 2 nights in a row. It keeps really well in the fridge and it also freezes. The noodles keep as well, so you can either pop them in fresh when you're heating it up or use the ones that you had in there originally. And you can see that this soup is quite jelly-like, so that's the gelatin, the collagen in there that we really love to see in our bone broths and our soups. And then here's a really good example of a broth that has gelled really well. So it literally is like jelly and you've got a really nice thick layer of fat on the top that you can either cook with or you can just discard it. So to get the broth really jelly like this, you might need to add in a few extra drumsticks or chicken wings, even bones from other animals like some bone marrow. Even if your broth doesn't gel though, it doesn't matter. It's still very nutrient dense. It just means it doesn't have quite as much gelatin in it. You can find the full recipes for these on my website, as well as a ton of other quick and easy healthy recipes.